Hey guys, Paul here from BabelTEQ again. This video is going to carry on from the previous video where I said I would walk you through setting up a website from start to finish. So let's go back and have a look at the site that I was working on. If you recall, it was a site that I was building to promote myself as a teacher for Japanese accountants. That was going to be my niche. So let's take a look at that again. All right. Yeah. So if you remember, this is what we had last time. It's the email marketing squeeze page. So I'm offering this PDF, this free ebook PDF, which explains six tips for more professional business English, and so any of my potential students can download this if they provide an email address, which I can then use within my email marketing programs, email marketing campaigns. I have an account with MailChimp, so those emails get captured and added to the MailChimp mailing list. So anyway, we talked about that in the last video. So yes, so this is all the work that we did in the last video. All right, so let's take a look at this page. This is the page that I want to work on now. This is the lesson booking page. This is the page that potential students will use when they want to book a trial lesson with me. So yeah, you can see this is all at the defaults with this template. It's what you get when you first open up an account using the business template. So we've got the header. That's fine. That's site-wide by now. Let's take a look here. So let's start editing some of these things on the page. So I'm going to click on the page editor here. So do you need English for your work? Yeah. Okay, I'll stick with that for now. So free online trial class. Yeah, I'm actually not going to offer a free one. I'm going to ask them to pay a small amount of money for a trial. Let's say $5. So we need to edit that. So instead of free, let's just call it an online trial class. Okay, now this video here. So I actually did create a YouTube video, and I'm not going to tell you it's the best video ever made, but I think published is better than perfect. It'll do for now. Probably what I should do is add a YouTube thumbnail, like this girl. She's made a specific thumbnail to make that first image that you see look nice. So I should probably do that. But that's it. That's a YouTube exercise. There's a service called Canva where you can I think you can get a free account with Canva and create these kind of YouTube cover thumbnails just to make your YouTubes look a bit more professional. But for now, let's just go with what I've got. Okay, so I've saved my YouTube video. Now, book a free trial class. So it's not free. Let's just make that book a trial class. And 25 minutes lesson plus 25 minutes study strategy. Yes, that's correct. So by the way, if you're going to do your trial lesson and like some kind of follow-up consultation and a sales session with your student, you should probably think about combining those times and then have that as a single bookable time. Unless you want to have like the trial lesson and then have that consultation at some later time, but I think that's probably a really bad idea. You want to do it all at the same time. And so to avoid that situation where you get somebody who might book the 25-minute trial and then somebody else who books another 25-minute trial immediately after, that's going to create a problem. So what I would suggest is that think about the trial lesson time itself and the consultation time, combine those times. So I'm making these lessons 50-minute bookable lessons. And so here, okay, let's see. Yes, I think I want to change this text here. Tell you what, let's save it. Let's save what I've done so far. Get it out of the way. Done. Publish. Right. Let's go back to the free study guide. Okay, yeah, what did I say here? Okay, I'm going to copy all that. It's creating a notepad here where I can paste this stuff for now. It's called anotepad.com. I use it all the time. It's really handy. And I think, yeah, I think we don't need that. That's only for the PDF, so that's fine. So let's go back to the book a lesson page. And what are we saying here? Yep, so I might copy this heading. This poor English, a problem when talking with colleagues. Let's open the page editor again. Okay, let's change that. I can make that into a smaller tag if I wanted to, like it's wrapping, but I'm not too concerned about that. Like you can see that it's wrapping to the second line. I could try making that a H3 tag maybe. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Let's leave it at H2. So save that. I think we've changed that text a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to copy that. Okay, so saying, is poor English a problem when talking with colleagues? Working at an international accounting firm means you need to express yourself and communicate clearly with foreigners, but having a conversation with advanced level English speakers can be frustrating. It is sometimes hard to explain yourself properly during meetings on the telephone or face-to-face situations. This can leave a bad impression. Okay, so we're articulating the pain point, the problem, which is always a good idea for any kind of sales page. So this is the default stock photo image. So I'm going to swap that out for my own photo. Save that. All right. Actually, no. I'm not going to use my photo there. I'm going to use a different photo. I want to use this sad-looking guy photo. That's it, because I'm illustrating the pain point. So I can help you speak business English correctly. And so here we want the happy guy. This is the after customer, the after student. So we got before and now we've got after. So let's save that. I can help you speak business English correctly. Yeah, and I want to remove this, take the 100% free. Yeah, because it's not 100% free. Maybe I'll just say just $5. Exclamation point. Make that bold. Right, and I want to change these bullet points out. So, yeah. So let's see. Get out of my way, Zoom. Okay, so making a small talk. Describing your office. These are the things that will be covered in the curriculum, of course. So yours will be whatever you're focusing on in your lesson curriculum. Okay, so that's probably good. Okay, and these ones on the right here. Welcoming a business guest. And managing a business meeting. These are all just points that were on my email marketing squeeze page, but they don't need to be. I mean, you can teach curriculum points that are unrelated to whatever your email marketing literature was about. Okay, so I think that's good. All right, yep, and more. We'll leave that. All right, so far so good. And this one here, limited times available, free trial class. Okay. I'm going to change that to, say, $5 trial class. Yep. Okay, so that's fine. Now this part here, this is the profile stuff. It's explaining who I am and my qualifications and so on. So this is where I want to use my profile picture. Right. And yeah, so about me. Now I've got some prepared text here somewhere. If Zoom can get out of my way for a second. Okay. Here we go. That's fine. A bit of personal stuff, and take that. Make that bold. Make that bold. Let's make that bold. Okay. So I'll save that. So what do we got? What's next? Okay, so now the testimonials. So I do have some testimonials. Okay, so these are testimonials from real people. So I'm going to copy this first one here. It's in Japanese, of course. So you're going to have to take my word for it that they say positive things about me. Okay, so let's change out this first one. And let's take a look here. So, and that was Ito-san. Now, I don't have an image for him, unfortunately. So I'm going to select image type as none. So best practice is you should try to get a photo for all of your testimonials, and if you can get some other information like their age, their job, their location, if you can add that kind of detail as well, that also helps. But in this case, we've just got a name, so it is what it is. Let's try the next one. So this one is from Atsushi-san. If you're wondering about what these square-shaped brackets, if you're wondering what they are, that's how Japanese usually write quotes online. So it's kind of like just emphasizing that it's a direct quote. So let's get Atsushi-san. Okay, we're done with that. He's not from Argentina, and the image was none. Okay, let me check Ito again. Yeah, he's not from Poland, so let's remove that. Save that. And so the last one is Yuji. So Yuji. He is definitely not from Bulgaria. And again, the image we're going to show is none. So I think that's probably it. Okay, so if I get more testimonials in the future, I would want to add them into here. You can add additional testimonials, and you can edit any of these, of course, if they provide a photo later on. So let's save that. Okay, what do we got here? Yep, all right. So I've got 3 testimonials on here. Now let's change this. Free trial class. So it's not free. Let's call it $5 trial class. Okay, and I think that's all we need to do on this page. So let's hit done and publish. Okay. Now, what we'll also want to do is, let's go back to the dashboard. Actually, no, let's stick here. Let's go to Egoviz dashboard. And I want to go to my pages. The lesson booking thank you page. So this is the page that people will get redirected to after they book a lesson through the calendar. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so we need to change a few things here. So the text is all okay. I don't have any social media accounts yet. I'll get them done shortly, and when I do, I would want to update these links here, but we'll leave that for now. I don't have a QR code. I'm not planning to use WeChat, so I can remove that, I think. So this image, we want to remove that, and I want to use my own photo. Okay, and done. Publish. All right, so the pages themselves are done, but we need to make sure this this calendar is set up properly. So let's go to the back to the dashboard again. Okay, so, and all of the calendar settings are here under bookings. Before I do that though, so one important thing is you should make sure that your time zone is correct. So the time zone that you set in here, these are going to be the time zones for you as the teacher. And in fact, if you have multiple teachers, they're all going to be using this time zone. Something to be aware of. The customers, when they see the calendar, it's going to be in their time zone, so that's good. But you need to make sure this corresponds to the correct time zone for you. Otherwise, when you go and check the calendar front end yourself, it's not gonna match up. If, for example, if the time zone here is still on UTC 9, which is Tokyo time, and you're in, like, I don't know, California or something, they're going to look out of sync. So you want to make sure that this time zone is correctly set for you. So that's the first thing. Let's take a look at bookings. Okay. Right, and another important thing, this is a bit of a gotcha, is anytime you look at the booking pages, it's important to remember this this date range in the top right. So by default, it looks at only the current week, and but if you want to look at a period of time longer than that, you should remember to change that. So let's say I want to look at bookings from 8th of December through to whatever. So I would select up here and change that. But for now, let's just use the 8th of December to the 14th of December. Okay. So what I want to do is if I come to the services, if I click on that. Okay, and you can see here, so I've got 3 types of classes available. I've got the trial class, which I've already set for $5, the one-to-one lesson, which they can book like individually, or a 10-week course. And the reason that's showing 0 is because I don't want them to pay for these lessons through the calendar. I want to sell them. I want to sell that course as a block of 10 or 15 or 20 lessons, and they would pay for that through a course sales page, and that's coming in the next video. So for our purposes here, we just want to look at this one. Okay, so trial lesson. So you can see I've set a price. So by default, I think it's free, or price is 0. If you're going to charge for your trial lessons, you should set a price for that. And it's set up under employees, Jack Doe, which is the default. And if we look on the settings, so it's got integrations, payments, and general. So general just means, so when somebody books a lesson, you want that lesson to be approved by default. If you wanted to, you could set it to pending, which means you've got to approve that. You've got to approve that booking manually before it gets added to your calendar. So I'm leaving this on approved automatically. So yeah, so all these defaults are okay, I think. Now this one here, redirect URL after booking. So you can see I've input a full URL string here. This is the URL for the thank you page. So after somebody books the lesson, this is where I want them to be redirected to. So you will need to input whatever URL corresponds to your thank you page. It's probably just whatever your site is. You know, for example, here mine is agobiz.babelteqnetwork1.com and then /lesson booking thank you. So that's the URL. Payments, if I click under there, so you can see I've enabled all 3 payment options for this lesson type. So I've got send me an invoice, PayPal, and Stripe. So if somebody just has a credit card, they can pay through Stripe. I believe that for students in China, if they have a Union Pay card, and if you're a teacher in the US, Stripe is fine for that. So if you're a US-based vendor, Stripe accepts Union Pay. I'm not sure about other countries though. If the student has a PayPal account, then they can pay via PayPal. If they have funds in their PayPal, wallet, they can use those, or they can use a credit card as well. I think the process is that you have to register a credit card with that PayPal account. PayPal is a bit more widely available, I think, not as restricted in terms of countries as Stripe is. Send me an invoice. So that would be, if you don't want to take a payment through this booking calendar, you just want someone to book the lesson. It's going to be approved because we've set approved by default. So you just want them to book the lesson, and then you send them an invoice by a third-party system, which could be something like Payoneer. Or if you have a Stripe account, you can also send them an invoice from your Stripe dashboard. And doing it that way means you can also offer Alipay and I think WeChat Pay as additional payment options. So anyway, I've got all 3 of these enabled for now. And integrations, let me close that. Integrations, you can see that I've enabled Zoom for this lesson type. So don't forget to do that if you want to do your lessons using Zoom. If you don't want to use Zoom, if you want to use something else like Vuv or Zumu or even just WeChat, if you're targeting Chinese clients, then you should disable this. And the thing to remember is if you do that, if you're not going to use Zoom, you'll want to come over here to your notifications, because by default these are the emails that the customer gets and you get as a teacher, as an employee. So the default email all talks about Zoom. So, for example, it says here, we'll be waiting for you on Zoom at the following date and time, brackets your time zone. And this placeholder here, it just generates the time and the date of the lesson. Please use the following Zoom URL to join the lesson. So again, this placeholder, it creates a link which the student can click on to enter the Zoom meeting. Now you have to let them in as the host of the Zoom meeting, and we'll look at that in a second. You can reschedule, you can check or reschedule your appointment here, and this is the placeholder for a customer panel URL. So again, this generates a link, which a link in the email, which when they click on takes them to a page listing all of their lesson bookings and their lesson history. And so if they wanted to cancel or reschedule a lesson, they can do it through that page. So they don't have to contact you, through an email or something, which gets a bit messy. So, and it depends on your booking policy as well. So you can set this up so that they can't reschedule if it's within 24 hours of the time, something like that. That's up to you. And thank you for taking lessons with us. Company name, placeholder there. This is the email which the employee gets. That's the teacher, probably you. So it's hi, your name, and you have one confirmed placeholder appointment. So this would be telling you what kind of lesson was booked, whether it's a trial lesson or some other kind of lesson. And I don't know about the location name. Probably you don't need location. The location is for if you're doing like face-to-face, like physical, like bricks and mortar style lessons. I mean, there might be some people who do both types of lessons, online and physical space lessons. And if so, that could be useful. But if it's not, and I suspect most of you probably are just doing online, then you may want to just edit this. So, delete that. In fact, I'll do that now. Okay, and save that. Okay, so that's saying it's confirmed. All right, so that's what those are what the emails look like, and then there's a bunch of other emails as well for different scenarios, like if an appointment was not automatically approved, if your workflow is that you need to manually approve each booking, then they would get a different kind of email saying that their appointment is pending. And there are more emails here if rejected. So I think that's if they make a pending appointment and you reject it for whatever reason, maybe you don't like them as a student, whatever. Appointments cancelled, rescheduled, a reminder, which is really handy, and follow up. This one's also interesting. So after you've had the lesson with them, you can schedule, you can automatically set up a follow-up email, which is kind of something that you could do to ask students for their feedback about the trial lesson. Maybe as part of your sales process, like if they don't commit right away to take a course with you. So that follow-up email could be useful. The event notifications, I think events you can largely ignore. I think events might be useful for something like webinars if you're offering webinars, but I think that's going to be not the case for most people. And you can set up a birthday greeting. That's an interesting one. If you wanted to send out an email on your customer's birthday, that could be nice. And customer panel access, that's just if someone requests access to their customer panel, maybe they can't find their email or the original email. You can set that up so they get that link that way. So anyway, so those are the notifications. Yes, so let's take a look at employees. Okay. So this is the default employee. I'm going to change this. Instead of using the default employee, I'm going to change and use my own image. And of course, I'm not Jack. And I'm happy with that email. I don't need a WordPress user in here, and don't need a phone number. So what you will need to do is, if you're using Zoom, is you need to connect the employee with a Zoom account. We'll talk a little bit in a minute about where that comes from. But if you've got a free Zoom account, then you'll have one Zoom user on that account. If you're in a situation where you have like a school where you have multiple teachers, I think you'll need a Zoom Pro account, which allows you to have multiple Zoom users. But I don't believe that's available under the free Zoom account. But for most people, that's the free one's probably just fine. Yeah, so all of these things are fine. Let's save that. Okay. Okay, so we've changed from Jack to me. Let's just come back in here for a second, because I want to look at the assigned services. So yeah, I'm available for doing all of these things. Trial classes, one-to-one classes, 10-week course classes. Yep. Now the work hours, if you wanted to, now you will probably want to create your own schedule. And so this is where you can do that. You can like add in times. You can edit these times. For our purposes, I'm just going to leave them as they are. Days off, things like days of the year when you don't want to work. So like New Year's Day, my birthday, Christmas Day, basically public holidays. That's how you'd use that. So special days, and I believe that the idea behind special days is like, let's say you wanted to take off on vacation for a couple of weeks, then you could use the special days here to block out those days. So I don't like the wording of special days, but that's what it means. Is it's a way of like blocking out days if you're on vacation. Could be very useful. For example, if you've got a school with a few teachers, and each of them has different holiday schedules. All right, so yeah, so that's employees. Now, I said that we would need to look at settings here. Yeah, so make sure that your company settings match your brand. So for example here, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that to match my brand. And this is the logo. So let's use the logo. So it's a bit squished in here. I think on the email though, that's probably okay. I think it just looks squished when we're looking at looking at this through the web interface, but on the email which the customer gets, that's going to use the original image, so that's fine. Let's save that. Notifications. Change that again. So we need to update. The sender name. The rest are probably fine at the defaults. So let's save that. Now integrations. Okay, so you can see here I clicked on integrations, and there is only one integration available, which is Zoom, and you can see I've input here the client key and the client secret. Now, I'm not going to go through it in this video. There's a help video that I've already made available. It's in the getting started tutorial list about how to get your Zoom API keys. Basically, what you need to do is first of all have a Zoom account, then go to it's called marketplace.zoom.us, and you say you want to create an app. So they call it an app. It's really just a way for you to get a couple of API keys. So you click create the app. You might have to agree to some terms of service, yada yada, and then so find where they have it's called API key. I think it's called, the first one's API key, and that's your client key, and the other one is API secret, I think they call it, and that's your client secret. So it's just two strings, two alphanumeric strings. That's all you need. So copy those, paste them into your fields here under the Zoom integrations. These you can leave as they are. This one here, create meetings for pending appointments. So that's something that you'll need to decide for yourself. Like, do you want to create a Zoom meeting if somebody creates an appointment, if somebody books a lesson which isn't approved yet? So I'm talking about that use case where you want to allow people to book lessons, but then you manually approve them. So just be aware that there's a setting here for that. Right, so yeah, okay, so let's get out of that. Right, yeah, so I think that covers it. So so that's how we set up the Zoom the Zoom integration with your calendar. Oh yes, right, yes, payments. So we need to set up a connection with your Stripe and PayPal accounts. So you'll need accounts with those two things, obviously. But you don't need both of them. You could have just an account with Stripe or just an account with PayPal. But in my case here, I'm giving my trial lesson students the option of using either of those payment methods. You can see here I've got the default payment method set as Stripe. Now, WooCommerce is not enabled and should not be enabled because we don't use WooCommerce on this platform. We've got PayPal checked and Stripe checked. So let's take a look. Now, again, you'll need to get some API keys for each of these. You'll need API keys for PayPal and API keys for Stripe. Again, there's another video that I've made separately which explains how to get those API keys. I'm not going to go through that right now, but I'm just going to show you, or just remind you where you can put those keys. So you can see, so I've clicked down on the PayPal window here, and you can see I've enabled PayPal service with that toggle. It's in sandbox mode, which means it's in a test mode, and I've input the test client API and the test secret API. Now, you can use that for making sure that it's set up correctly. You'll also need a Sandbox, a PayPal Sandbox account. And again, that's explained in the other video. If you want to test PayPal this way, when you're satisfied with it, when you're happy with everything, you would want to switch this from Sandbox mode into live mode. And remember that there are different keys for live. So you've got a set of keys for test and a set of keys for live. So make sure you remember to input both sets of keys and switch over from Sandbox to live and vice versa if you're testing. Okay, and you can see here I've toggled down the Stripe window. So Stripe is enabled. It's in Stripe test mode. Again, on your Stripe dashboard, there is an option there to switch between live and test mode. Under test mode, they have some test API keys. There's a publishable key and secret key. So I'm using the publishable key here and the secret key. And again, so this way you can test that the checkout's working correctly. There's a URL that I mentioned in my other video where you can get some test credit card numbers. So Stripe provides you with some dummy credit card numbers that you can use to test the checkout. So you might under some circumstances need to use like a dummy US zip code as well. So like 90210. Remember the famous TV show Beverly Hills zip code 90210. That's one I always use anyway. So yeah, it's always a good idea to test your checkout. All right, so let's get out of that. All right, so I think that covers it. So if I come back to dashboard here, my pages. Yes. So what we might do is I will log out now. Let me just log out here. And go back to the front page of this site. Now, because this is using the Premium Pro account, the front page is the course sales page where we sell a course. That'll be the next video where we talk about that. That's this page here. I want to go back to this page, book a lesson. Okay, so you can see the updates we've made now to this page. So I've got my testimonials included in there. So what we might do is let's try booking a class now in test mode. Now what I should probably do first is clear any cookies. Now this is a thing to be aware of. So the booking calendar, it creates a cookie for anyone who is logged in on the site. So that's probably a good feature most of the time because it means your students they don't have to remember like what email they use to book a lesson, that sort of thing. It remembers them on their computer next time they come back. For testing purposes, though, it can kind of get in the way of what we're trying to do, though. So let's click on here. You see, I clicked on the little padlock, and if I click on cookies, and I want to remove cookies. So now we're cookieless. Okay, so let's try booking a lesson. I'm going to try December 10th. Let's make it an early lesson, 7 a.m. Okay, so you can see now that it's got me as the teacher there. So because I'm in the same time zone as, well, I'm booking this as a student, and I'm in the same time zone as the teacher, so we don't have to worry about time differences. But if the student is in a different time zone, they would get to see whatever times are correct for them, which is going to be different to whatever time zone you're in, if that makes sense. Okay, so what are we going to call this? Let's say Ken Watanabe. Okay. Okay. So let's say that, and I'm going to try with the credit card. Let's try dummy credit card here. I know 4242 works. So just give it a month. So 12/22, 1, 2, 3. Now this is an American credit card, the 4242 number, so it's going to ask me for a zip code. That's fine, and I think that's all it needs. So let's confirm. Okay, so congratulations, your booking's completed. And if we click on finish, okay, it takes me to the thank you page, and so that would have generated an email to myself as the teacher, and to Ken Watanabe as the student, and that booking should be in our appointments list, and I'm going to check that right now. Let's go back. Okay, I'm just going to log in here. Okay, and if we look at the dashboard, okay, it's telling me that I've got a appointment here. So 10th of December, Ken Watanabe. So that's and it's accepted the payment and it's approved. So that's all set up correctly. So these stats here, by the way, so these can be useful, especially when you get a bit more volume happening, to tell you how your bookings and finances are trending. All right, so let's end there. So in this video, so we've talked about how to set up that lesson booking page, including the lesson booking calendar, and I showed you how to go through the setup for connecting the calendar with your payment systems, PayPal and Stripe, and also how to connect with Zoom. So there are, as I mentioned before, there are dedicated tutorial videos for that on the help page of the BabelTEQ site, on our page with FAQs and video tutorials. So if you want to go over those in detail, let's just look at those. All right, so thank you very much, guys, and